All right, we're just outside Bray Studios in a very expensive area. This is the river Thames. Uh, this is the river that goes through London. It comes all the way out here. Bray Studios is just down that water line, and we're just trying to have a mosey, little peek, what's going on because that's where Lord of the Rings is filming. Let's go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday, your weekly dose of all things Lord of the Rings. You just saw a clip from earlier this year when I was in London doing some reconnaissance on behalf of fans everywhere, right along the River Thames. But we've got a lot to talk about today. We've got the goods. We're going to show them to you in a second. I haven't even shown Cliff yet. So let's get the intros going. Clifford Broadway is the producer and writer of Ringers, Lord of the Fans, a longtime contributor to the OneRing.net, one of the best writers I know, and the best co-host I could ever ask for. Hello, Clifford.
Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday. Mr. Justin Sewell, that is you sitting over there in that little TV tube. And many, many miles away, I'm all the way over here. And yet, my brother, I feel like we are brothers in arms. We're here together again with our faithful audience to have another interesting Torn Tuesday. Welcome to the OneRing.net, everybody. You know, the conversation is getting as thick as thieves. There's a lot happening since the release of episode 5 of The Rings of Power. And not only that, but there's other TV shows going on, other big news in the world of fantasy and science fiction and geekdom. But in particular, I know that we want to talk a lot today about how we're all feeling. I know you're feeling a certain way, Justin, but let's talk about how we're feeling about the Song of Hitheglir. Let's talk about that, shall we?
What's Hippolyte Glear? Did
All
I
right.
miss that part of the show? Did I fall asleep during an important part again? What's
Okay.
Hippolyte Glear?
Yeah. Okay. You need to work on. Both of us need to work on our Elvish pronunciations. But seriously, we're talking about that part of episode 5, which represents the apocryphal, the revelation of this legend of an unknown elf fighting with an unknown Balrog over a Silmaril that was powering a tree, and something along those lines happened to create Mithril. So, yeah, we're talking about that part of the TV show, The Rings of Power, that has flabbergasted a lot of Tolkien fans. Wow, it has prompted a very energized conversation about who is telling lies in the world of Middle Earth. So we're trying to separate the wheat from the chaff and separate the confusion from what seems to be in the fictional world of the Rings of Power, what seems to be a series of ongoing machinations of Sauron, which might be happening in the background, while the rest of the characters on stage are getting befuddled, while the audience, the audience, are also getting a little bit befuddled. So let's hash it all out. Let's talk it out, shall we? Let's
Um,
figure out what's going on.
well, I
You
can
saw
tell.
it. You didn't fall asleep. You saw it. You saw it
I
yourself.
saw it. I saw it. You know what? I don't have anything to say about episode 5.
Okay.
And that particular part of episode 5, I'm just gonna let our favorite character Disa tell you. Well, see, that's
What are you
where
gonna
I
do?
stand on that. But the chat room is full of people. I see Tukish and Cecilia, Otaku Senpai, Finrod is here. I haven't seen you.
That's funny.
Makus, Makus, Eruvandi. Great to see you. That felt very Arwen is dying to me. Yes, and turns out a lot of people did not like the concept that Peter Jackson, Philippa, and Fran put in the movies of this idea of like Arwen was losing power, like she was physically losing herself with it during the movie. I was surprised to see a lot of fans that love the books did not like that at all. So I understand where people are coming from in their opinions of the show. All I have to say is, as we talked about last week and the week before and the week before that, this season 1 of Rings of Power definitely feels like one complete 8-hour thought. So I'm going to withhold my full opinion until I have a full complete picture of how this season nets out. And
Well, I've been saying that myself for weeks and weeks and weeks. I would also
that's what I just said. Yeah.
I would very much like to have done that, but you pulled us into a mid-period report card last week.
Right. Well, Macus in the chat room, Cliff, says, yes, in the case of Arwen, but that was a small dramatic detail. This rubbish is the center of a plot line. Is it the center of a plot line?
Is it the problem that we, the audience, cannot differentiate the lies of Sauron just the way that the characters in the secondary world cannot differentiate the lies of Sauron, which is being spread around? Now, look, I'm going to offer my own personal insights, and I will leave it at that. Do you guys know what it means in a narrative to add a layer of abstraction? Do you know what that is? Okay, here's the thing. You have a story to tell, but instead of using live people and live action, you use animation. And that adds a layer of abstraction. It is a way of visually using the abstract representations of the artwork. That representational animated artwork allows, in many cases, the story to have some permeability, so that people who are sitting there can attune themselves to other thematic power and structure and messaging that is in the story that comes across more, believe it or not, it comes across more in a more porous fashion when you have that extra level of abstraction. So we saw Hermione Granger do that in the Harry Potter films when they have this animated sequence when she starts to tell the story of the 3 brothers who would cheat death.
Wait, hold on. Why the heck are we talking about that? Just wrap up your thought. I'm not talking about Harry Potter. Not on this show. We've got too much to talk about today.
Okay. Well, if you'd let me finish, I'm going to finish. I'll tell you. The abstraction was allowed by David Yates and the filmmakers so that Hermione's part of the story becomes a piece of mythology within the secondary world of Harry Potter. And in the Rings of Power, you would have noticed very carefully that the production gives us the abstraction of this beautiful animated tableau. It is the same narrative tool that is used in other places where the character in the story, in this case, it's Elrond. Elrond is speaking the legend of this apocryphal legend. And instead of getting a piece of history, like in other points of the Rings of Power, when they show us a flashback, it's real photography, real history.
So you're just basically saying that whole story, we've never seen anything like it. It's a story, and we've never seen anything like it.
I'm just trying to say very basically that the attentive viewers, any attentive viewers out there, will notice that level of abstraction that was added by it being an animated tableau is a deliberate thing.
It's a choice.
It's a choice, but it's supposed to remind us all
this show is not full of choices.
No, wait. When Nerdist had done their video about the Song of Hitheglir, they leaned into it as if it was new lore. And they said, okay, guys, we're going to have to accept this. This is now brand new, created for the TV show lore. And I'm saying, I don't think you got that right.
I don't care. The fact that they didn't have the fact that they didn't shut it down in the show. They should have shut it down narratively. If it's a lie, tell us it's a lie right now. This is not fun for any of us, okay? I think the filmmakers think we're having fun with all these guessing games and mystery boxes. We're not. It's not fun. Tolkien is not about this. Kevington in the chat room, thanks for watching on Twitch. He says, I feel like there wasn't much development or excitement in this last episode. It looked like there was a big lead up from the previous episode. I agree with Kevington. In fact, I believe it was Forbes or someone had a great review of episode 5 that said that the episode 5 moves the plot ahead 15 minutes in an excruciating 71-minute episode.
That is a fair assessment, and I agree with
this show is so slow.
I don't agree with the slowness as a complaint, but I will complain quite openly about the fatigue. I'm getting a strong sense of the mystery boxing fatigue and the fatigue of ongoing setup after setup after setup. By the time you got to the end of episode 4, and there was this great big crescendo of Bear McCreary's excellent music, you felt like, oh, wow, that's all the setup we're going to get. We're going to go straight into conflict. We're going to go straight into, the chase scene. We're going to
and we didn't. And
we didn't.
We didn't. Speaking of fatigue, I want to ask, where did Warrior Galadriel, get her fatigues from at the end of episode 5? Suddenly she's walking on the boat with her full military fatigues on. I'm sorry, armor. Where did that come from? I thought she disrobed and jumped off a ship. What, did Halbrand suddenly learn Elvish silver making and iron crafting? And where the heck did that come from?
We didn't hear about it in the episode, but one of the actors
That's the thing that we would care about most.
Yeah, one of the actors revealed in a conversation somewhere, in an interview, that it was a gift of brand new armor gifted to Galadriel by the Queen Regent Tarmiriel.
You have 50 hours of television. You're taking your slow molasses time with this, and you can't show that? Something so important, and not just important. Objectively, the fact that you had cosplayers at San Diego Comic-Con this year replicating that armor shows put some weight on it. Give it some give it some height and thing. Anyway,
it was that would have been kind of cool to see brand new gorgeous Numenorian armor being made for her as a gift from the Queen Regent to her. They could have had a whole opulent, cool scene, and it could have been like Elrond showing up to give Aragorn his reforged blades. Anduril.
Last one says, wow, Justin, wow, I'm going to continue to enjoy the show. Look, I don't take anything away from people enjoying the show. I'm having a lot of fun watching the show, but it is slow. And, as far as the report card last week, again, I did not want to give that report card. And as a child, I did not want to receive midterm report cards. When I was in university, I hated midterm reports and midterm testing. So we're just continuing on with what life is like. Midterms, you get graded. That's all. It's not the full complete grade, and it's not the full complete thought of what I think or we think.
Yeah,
because
we've
all voted on this. Cliff, there is so much news to get to this week, and I'm just gonna jump in. We're really excited here.
Let's jump in. Before we jump in, I just got to say I agree with you. From the very, very top thing you said at the top of the show, you got a sense that this entire 8 episodes was one complete thought. And we're not there yet. We're not there yet. So let's decide and wait until the end of all 8 episodes and figure out exactly where they were going with season 1, because so many things have yet to be made clear.
And we have the very, very first information about season 2 coming up in a few minutes. All right.
Okay.
The news, breaking news today. The Paley Center for Media in New York City has announced a new event today, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, Episode 7 on the big screen. Everyone that went to the episode 1 and 2 theatrical screenings across the country and across the world, you know what it was like sitting in a darkened theater, surrounded by fans, a packed house. Hopefully it was a packed house. Several theaters were packed, but just the booming sound and the darkened theater and the big screen, that's the way to experience this show. Rings of Power was filmed like a movie, was filmed like a film, and we should experience it at every chance we get. So starting this Thursday and Friday, Thursday for members, Friday to the general public, you can get your tickets for October 8th, Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, Episode 7 screening. Following the screening on Saturday, October 8th, will be a conversation with Queen Regent Muriel, Bronwyn, Arondir, Lord Celebrimbor, Kemen, High King Gil-galad, The Stranger, and Marigold Brandyfoot. So several of the actors will be there in attendance to talk about the episode. And folks, I want to tell you, man, okay, I can't tell you what I've been told about this episode, but I can tell you that episode 7 is the make it or break it for everybody, for all the fans, for the studio, for the filmmakers, for the writers. Episode 7 is it. And this is the episode that they're showing on the big screen in New York City, right there in Midtown at the Paley Center. I believe it's around 52nd Street or 47th Street, something like that. So you want to get your tickets. I've been to several Paley Fest shows, both in New York and LA. Cliff, I believe you've been to some Paley Fest. They really do a great job celebrating television shows, and the Q&As afterwards are always some of the best Q&As. Don't you agree?
Yeah, yes, they do. They have unbelievable conversations with the creative side of people, the crew and the producers, writers, and actors. They really get into the details at the Paley Fest. It's going to be really interesting. But don't you find that kind of interesting on the other note that there's been no other screenings of these other episodes beyond the premiere event, which was a big focus on the Bayona directed episodes 1 and 2, but now huge focus on episode 7. What does that tell us?
Well, I
wonder.
Should we say? Should we also say what's going on this week, Cliff? Should we hold our tongue?
I think you're gonna go ahead and say it anyways, Justin. Go ahead.
We have received a spy report. Thank you for sending in all your spy reports. Our DMs are always open. Our Discord is always open. You can find the One Ring Net on Discord. Find our personal account and send us a DM on Instagram, on Twitter, or you can go to the website and email spymaster@theonering.net. That's how we get all of our sneak peeks and leaks. And I can tell you, we got a spy report that this week, starting Thursday and Friday and Saturday, Amazon Studios is having secret 2-episode press screenings of episode 6 and episode 7 together for press. Starting this week, there will be press people that you follow on Twitter that you know and you might enjoy their writing will have seen the next 2 episodes. Amazon is treating the next 2 episodes as a complete thought.
They're doing this to generate more attention in the press to these episodes. And
yes.
I want to know, again, who made the decision to not release all 8 episodes at the same bloody time. I mean, really.
It does feel like
really?
the plan was. It does feel like it. It feels like the show was made for a complete drop on Labor Day weekend, and then something changed. Anyway, the next 2 episodes are being treated as a complete thought, like episode 1 and 2 were treated as a complete thought. We have not heard any rumors or whispers that they're showing episodes 6 and 7 to the public. These are press-only screenings. And Amazon, if you're watching, we're press, right?
I'll go to the press screening.
We'll keep a secret. We're here in Los Angeles.
Look, the 2,000 word review that I wrote for episodes 1 and 2. If they want coverage, I'll write another 2,000 word review for episodes 6 and 7. If you want the press coverage, hey there, knock knock. Are you still in there, Lorenzo? I'm ready. Send me a Send me an invitation. I'll go.
Not just his review. Did you guys read my review, episode 1 and 2? There were so many pull quotes of positivity. I really like the show and I'm having a lot of fun, and I would love to have a lot of fun. I would love to see that Balrog back on the big screen. I'm here for the Balrog. You know, since Comic-Con, I'm here for the Balrog. So anyways, that's happening this week. Separate from this week, next week, you, the fans, can get tickets to the Paley Fest theatrical screening of episode 7, and I'm telling you, you want to do it. Pete, Northerner, if you still watch the show, try to get tickets. Anyone in New England, in the New York area, try to get tickets to the Rings of Power show next Saturday, October 8th. I promise you, this is the episode everyone's most proud of. This is the episode where everything comes together. This is episode 7 on the big screen. Do not miss this chance. Moving on. You know what else has happened next week, Cliff? New York Comic-Con is next week. Amazon is bringing The Legend of Vox Machina, Good Omens, The Wheel of Time, Rings of Power, and of course The Peripheral to the convention next week. The Wandering also has a panel on Saturday, so if you're going to New York Comic-Con next week, we hope to see you there. Kirsten was there, Calisuri will be there, a bunch of our regular folks will be there in New York City at New York Comic-Con. So look out for that. All of those shows get their own panel except for the two in the middle. Wheel of Time and Rings of Power have been combined into the Amazon Fantasy panel.
That's unusual. That's a rather unusual formatting choice for a convention. Don't you think? I mean, usually an individual show or cast and creatives from an individual show will have their own panel because that audience wants to go there and have a conversation about their show, not the other ones, not the other shows. So that's a very interesting process. I've never seen that shoot big shows, two big intellectual properties combined in a convention track. That's a new one for me. Never seen that before.
Yes, it is an interesting choice, and it's interesting because we have been reporting on the fan reactions since last November when Wheel of Time dropped, and ever since Amazon announced Prime Video announced Rings of Power, I think Lord of the Rings fans have been very, very loud and adamant that Tolkien's legacy not be treated as just another piece of fantasy content.
Mm-hmm.
This is Tolkien we're talking about, the granddaddy of fantasy. So we've been everyone can agree that Tolkien is a higher level of fantasy. That this Rings of Power show not be lumped in with just a fantasy content thing. And so far so good up until New York Comic-Con, where Vox Machina gets its own panel, Good Omens gets its own panel, the Peripheral gets its own panel, but then they lump in Wheel of Time and Rings of Power into a fantasy panel, and it's cringe. Just gonna say it. I don't think fans want to hear it like that.
How on earth could you have not enough content for the Rings of Power to fill an entire panel? How someone explain to me how you could be lacking enough conversation about a series like that it wouldn't warrant its own panel. I don't know. Whatever.
It is curious, and in case you think I'm making this up, this is from Amazon Studios press portal, where it says Prime Video presents The Wheel of Time and The Lord of the Rings of Power. The Rings of Power. So there it is. Like from their own press release, they've combined.
There you go.
The two things.
Looking at our dear friends in the YouTube chat, Mac Juice is very adroit in observing that whenever people use the word franchise for Tolkien's Legendarium, the argument is lost already.
I agree. And there was another comment. XOXO 2000 says Game of Thrones is just as good as Lord of the Rings, but why are Lord of the Rings fans more stuck up and annoying? I don't agree with that assessment. Have you gone to this subreddit called Free Folk? Game of Thrones fans were some of the most obnoxious voices on the internet for like 3 years. So, uh,
Oh my. All right.
Lord of the Rings fans know how to have a good time in the face of three Hobbit movies. Now, Lord of the Rings fans know how to have a good time when Thranduil looks like a goblin in a cartoon version of The Hobbit. So we know how to have a good time with things. But we
Oh,
just
you mean
have
when Thranduil looks like a goblin and has a very thick German accent because German director Otto Preminger was doing the voice. Um, back in we're talking about the Rankin and Bass animated Hobbit film. Everybody, just so you're not confused about that.
Oh,
Um,
Cliff, this is a good one I want you to respond to. Tim in the chat room, thanks, Tim, for
mhm.
watching. Can't blame Amazon for wanting to use Rings of Power to promote the other shows.
Oh, I hadn't thought about it. You know what? I am not naturally the person who would think so cynically, but that's why I don't work in a television network. That's why I don't work at a studio, because I do not naturally think that cynically about things. But that's probably just as likely as anything.
Andrew says Tolkien isn't just the father of modern fantasy, but was voted the most important author of the 20th century. This is what I'm talking about. It's not just another big franchise. Tolkien is just another level of of not franchise, celebrity, brand, IP. It's all the wrong terminology. Tolkien is just the next level up of the written language and spoken language. And Tolkien is just the next level of language. Okay?
Agreed. Agreed. There's a quality in Tolkien's linguistic efforts that no one has ever come close to. And a lot of other fantasy writers and con lang enthusiasts have tried to do all kinds of stuff. Somebody even tried to invent a language called Esperanto, right? And I don't think any of it was as strongly linguistically and historically considered as the type of languages and the work that Tolkien did on his own things. Nothing comes
Well,
close.
Sean says feels like we're stuck on the subject. It's not just stuck on the subject. It's a nice little segue into Cliff. You read the One Ring posted a new article today from longtime contributor Ostadan about the language and the
Mm-hmm.
writing of the show. Can
Mm-hmm.
you describe what this article is about? Because it's a long read.
Boy, putting me to task. Okay, let's say that uh, we wanted to take a look, closer look, and Ostadan was. I'm sure that he's literally here. Yeah, I know he's here in the live chat with us right now, and I would love it if he would speak more about his article.
We'll
He
have
just
him
said
on a future
we'll have
episode.
him on a fight, but you'd say that this is an examination of um, how Professor Tolkien's linguistic concerns and his approach to dialogue um, was more important and more considered than anybody has a right to take for granted. Really, it is part of why the storytelling is so effective and deliberate, is because of the measured, very meticulous way that Professor Tolkien worked with language, and it's definitely worth reading. You'll get it's very fair and very well researched, and it's we're having all these conversations now about how we compare the Rings of Power with our experiences of understanding Tolkien and how Professor Tolkien achieved the great, wonderful things that he did achieve. Um, there's
Well, it starts off. It's a very long article, and it's very well
mhm,
written, and it's one of our
very
the classic type of articles that One Ring made its name on. But Ursula Le Guin is a famous author in her own right, but also wrote some wonderful companions and critical essays on not criticisms, but critically important essays on Lord of the Rings. And a famous one called Rhythmic Pattern in Lord of the Rings. Ursula Le Guin does a deep dive into the prose of Tolkien, his
Yes.
method of writing, and she kind of explains like, have you noticed that Tolkien's structure of writing is always two beats, right? There's an A and a B, an A and a B, and the way Tolkien writes is kind of like going on a journey. Two, 1 foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, left foot, 1 2 1 2.
Yes.
She calls it a pulsation back and forth between polarities of feeling. And every time and basically if you read Tolkien stories, you can see that Tolkien sets up a feeling of like warmth and comfort and friendship, and then the next step in his writing is imminent danger. Whether it's Frodo and Sam just starting off on the journey and then immediately getting chased by the Nazgul, right? And then basically you have this action adventure. You have a sigh of relief, and then you have more danger. Sigh of relief, more danger. There's an ebb and flow to Tolkien's writing style that Ostadan presents in this article, which is a long read, and I recommend bringing it up on your tablet tonight when you're sitting in bed and starting to read through. But he presents it as the writing of the show is not meeting the high bar that Tolkien established in some basic understandings of the way Tolkien writes, and Austen uses Ursula Le Guin as a jumping off point. So anyway, it's a fascinating article, and Cliff, I think this article really puts to text some of the things we were talking about on our report card episode last week.
Indeed, we were talking about not using modern words like okay, and there's a certain distinct quality that you get when you are paying attention to more archaic forms of thought and speech. And the article is quite interesting because it explains how in some cases in the Rings of Power, the spell that they're trying to cast is broken. The spell is broken by the types of language that people use. And we did talk about that during our report card last week. I don't like the use of a modern 21st century corporate phrase like, expanding a workforce and things like that, or it's like, oh gosh, project deadlines on my Excel spreadsheet is not the kind of thing you want to hear in Middle Earth. It's
well,
it's,
we got
get
some,
it.
yeah, and some great comments here from Twitter. Wizard Way Chris found the article and posted it to her socials, saying fantastic article on the One Ring that explains why the dialogue feels slightly off. This is fantastic criticism, one which resonates even for us enjoying the series. And then a comment to her was, glad someone has the brain power to put into words what I can't. I need to read this and read it again. So so this is what we're talking about, Cliff, on last week's report card, where basically the show gets A's and B's all over, but when it comes to the writing, why did we give it such a C? And this Ostadan, we didn't even know that this was coming.
We didn't. We really didn't know it was coming, and it would have been the perfect companion conversation with our report card last week. But
well,
yes,
it's a good follow-up, right? If you enjoyed last week's report card show, go ahead and spend some time diving into why Rings of Power does not feel Tolkien-ish. So wonderful support from everybody on
isn't
this
that great
article.
that we have a volunteer who's been working with us for over 20 years, and all these people are just volunteer friends and family of the OneRing.net, they're our extended group of family that just came along and keep beating the drums and carrying the torch for all these greater conversations that we love having about Professor Tolkien's work. And it's really wonderful to have Ostadan contributing with us still. And I acknowledge him personally as a friend, and I acknowledge him as a very thoughtful and considerate writer to write this excellent piece for us.
Yeah.
I acknowledge.
We've got a couple more news bits before we show you the exclusive season 2 sneak peek that we got our hands on. Cliff, you were at the big Bilbo Baggins birthday bash this weekend in Griffith Park. How was it? How many people showed up? Were people in cosplay? What was the vibe? Was everybody talking about Rings of Power?
Yes, actually, the experience at the Bilbo Baggins birthday picnic was a deliciously relaxed affair. Everybody was enjoying the sunshine and the dappled green light that was coming through the trees. We had very cooperative weather. We had a light breeze. We got a beautiful, beautiful multicolored dragon kite to briefly go aloft into the sky. There were really nice people passing out lembas bread wrapped up in beautiful leaves and twine and homemade cakes and cookies. There was a delicious quiche. There was quite a few musical instruments. I was missing out on my good buddy who always brings the ocarina. He plays these amazing ocarinas. And but we had Arwen costumes, elven costumes. The Sackville Bagginses came by and sang a really fun song about kicking Bilbo out of Bag End right after his birthday. Our harpist showed up. It was just a relaxing day. And then there was the button lady. There was Suzanne Egg, the amazing button lady who was giving away toys and merchandise and action figures and stuff that she was giving away, collected from her massive 22 years worth collection of Fellowship of the Ring things. It was really a lovely and relaxing day. And also, at the end of it all, there was, there's the button lady's cloak. There was some wonderful visitations from people who had traveled around the country just to come and join us there at the picnic. There was also Molly Knox Ostertag, Hobbit Gay, wonderful, talented people from different podcasts. There were Tolkien creators. Alan was there from the Prancing Pony podcast. And there was some great cosplay, some wonderful Tolkienists, and some tried and true original members of the OneRing.net staff who've been there pulling this event off for so many years. And all the way from Boston, believe it or not, there was Gene. And for the past 10 years, Gene has been one of our most faithful members of the audience, watching and engaging with all of us on the live chat here at Torn Tuesday from many moons ago. How are you?
They probably can't hear me.
Oh, they can hear you. They can hear you just fine.
Can you through the mic? Oh, I can take
Yeah, you see this? Yeah.
I can take these things out.
Yeah,
then.
they can hear you just fine right through here. Say hi, everybody.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Justin, fellow ringers.
So we had people visiting from around the country to come and join the picnic and have a wonderful experience. And believe it or not, everybody was rather well behaved, in the end.
Very well behaved. Everybody even cleaned up after themselves. The place was cleaner than when you arrived.
I made sure of that. We always leave the parks cleaner than when we arrive. The little cake contest was a default winner. So there was only one cake that was brought for the beautiful Bilbo Baggins cake baking contest. There was a default winner. It was delicious. You know what? No, wait, there were two. Two people brought two cakes.
Yeah, there were two cakes.
There were two cakes. Okay, but I had a really good time.
There was one that looked like a Hobbit door.
And there was one that looked at the Hobbit door.
I didn't get a chance to try that one, and I'm mad.
It was delicious. And I ate myself silly all day long. And we just had the most relaxing people. And there it is. There it is. We had the most relaxing time. Yeah.
That's the one.
So
Sarah
I'll-
Draper is in the chat room. Hello, Sarah Draper. I believe Sarah was there too. From Colorado, if my memory serves me correct. I forget, but she was planning to come, right?
How about that? This is amazing. The very first Bilbo Baggins birthday picnic was held in 1967, and it was the announcement of the formation of the Mythopoeic Society. Very cool. Thank you. You know, if you don't know, the Mythopoeic Society is a big, wonderful group, a society of fantasy, science fiction nerds and enthusiasts who are really big time into mythopoeia. And if you're a big Tolkien fan, you'll know what that is.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that report on the Bilbo's birthday bash. Again, if Torn ever says come to an event, make every effort to come, because they are so much fun, and we always have a good time, no matter what anyone's feelings are on anything. When fans come together, good things happen. Always. But moving on, we got more stuff. Twitter this week, we asked, episode 5, which of these did you enjoy the most? And this is shocking to me, Cliff, that we started off before the show even started, that Harfoots was like, everybody was not digging Harfoots. Everybody was like, why do we need Harfoots? Why do we need halflings? There's so much to tell in the Second Age and the Fall of Numenor. Why do we need any of these Harfoots? And no one was digging Harfoots. Even people that love the books were like, I don't need to see Harfoots. What a great turn of events for Harfoots to be like some of the top enjoyable moments in the show. So credit to the writing, the performances, the acting, the set design, everything about the Harfoots. The TV show has absolutely delivered on something that nobody knew we wanted.
Yeah, I love the Harfoots. I love their paganism. I love their interesting little weird society rituals and all the. I love the way they're doing it. It's really, really cool and very, very creative ideas in how they have brought the Harfoots. What do you think about the Harfoots on the show?
I think the Harfoots are amazing.
They're amazing, yeah.
They actually, what the thing is, like, they're the ancestors of the hobbits.
Way ancestors, way back.
Ancestors, and
Yeah.
they make a great addition to the show, because we get the earlier look of what hobbits were, Third Age.
Mm-hmm.
They're a great addition. I love them.
I do too. I think it's great stuff.
They're really adorable. Nori's adorable.
Nori is super adorable.
My favorite out of all the Harfoots so far.
I got to say hello to Monica in the live chat. Monica, hello. It is so good to see you. She came there with her family to join us at the Bilbo Baggins birthday picnic. It's really good to see you in the chat. Hi, Monica. Welcome, everybody. So, yeah.
The Harfoot song from episode 5 is probably the best part of the series thus far.
Do you know there were 2 songs in episode 5? There was the song of the Balrog and the elf and the tree and the mithril, but the other song, the Song of Wandering. Now that was the real song that everybody really, really loved. I thought it was amazingly written. It was lyrically beautiful, amazingly written song. And it's not easy. It is not easy to write songs like that. I'm telling you, that was a beautiful bit of songcraft. It was really beautiful.
That was the most Tolkien this show has gone, says.
Do you know why?
Some of the people.
Do you know why? It's the first time we've had a journey on camera. That's why.
Interesting.
And it's the first time traveling has been depicted in all of the Rings of Power, and that's what we're most used to seeing, I think, in a lot of the Hobbit and a lot of the Lord of the Rings. It's a road movie. And so finally, in 5 episodes, we finally get to see actual journeying across Middle-earth. Because in the other bits, it was like, bam, Elrond has left
Yeah, they go from the
Linden,
Celebrimbor's study
bam,
to
he's in
the
Celebrimbor's study. Yeah, exactly. It's like bam, they're there.
and then bam, he's in front of Durin's door. Like what? Like show some of that wonderful New Zealand landscape. This is what's most frustrating. They spent all that money and effort shooting in New Zealand. Why haven't they shown any of the beautiful New Zealand landscapes that were empty because of the pandemic?
Yeah, do you know, there were people saying, oh, look at all the cut and paste they did of background extras in that big scene where Bronwyn is having a
Come
speech.
on. Yeah, they
And I'm
look
like,
better. That's a
it
useless thing.
that
You
is
know what?
that is useless, because if it was just a piece of generated massive software, like the massive software that Weta was doing to make the Battle of Helm's Deep, nobody complained about that. It's
No,
like,
no one ever complained. They're just nitpicking. You know what else
yeah, I
people
know, I
found?
know.
This episode, I love
Funny.
our Discord. You guys have to join our Discord, because every single day of every single week, but especially on Thursday and Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays and sometimes Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, the conversation is so detailed and so deep. Someone on our Discord is identifying all of the guilds that appear on some of the breast. I think this is a breastplate.
Oh
on
no,
the show.
those are medallions that they wear to pin their cloaks together at the shoulder. You wear it at the shoulder. It's really cool. I had no idea that somebody had done this and had worked out all of these symbols. That is so cool.
Last Wind says, come to the Discord side. We have memes and pants and Brimby, and you have this wonderful stuff that always ends up on Reddit. So if you want to be first to see a lot of this discourse, and as it's forming, and as fans are starting to aggregate around certain theories, you want to be in the Discord, because I love the conversations happening when an episode drops and everyone presents their theories, and then the community kind of resolves itself around the most popular theory. So
I dig it. So it is a theory. These are not confirmed from the show. These are theories, right?
These are theories, but these are well-informed theories. And if you're on Discord, you would see how they have reached it. Another thing, looks like Screen Rant got an exclusive peek at some stuff. Like I said, they are having press screenings of episodes 6 and 7. Who knows if they've already had a press screening yet or not? Because Screen Rant posted this afternoon that Rings of Power Season 1 will reveal the identities of the gray hooded trio? Gray hooded trio. That is, I do not speak for the show at all in any capacity ever, so don't quote me on that. But the gray hooded trio, there's been a lot of theories flying around in our Discord, but the number one strongest theory, Cliff, is these three white cloaked people looking for the Meteor Man are shapeshifter werewolves. And these are the actual ugly wargs that keep tracking. Every time you see a warg chasing the Harfoots, that's one of these three people. And the wargs always hunt in packs of 3. And if you saw that big fist punch battle between the Meteor Man and the 3 wargs, and then these 3 show up, Cliff is. I'm confused. I thought I understand that Beorn turned into a bear, but are there other creatures, other men that turn into wolves? There are actual werewolves in Middle Earth?
Sauron as a Maiar spirit turned into a werewolf, not other humans. So you should not be confused and think that there's, real lycanthropy happening where mortal men are turning into werewolves. That's not what is part of this legendarium. No.
Okay, so that then the question to you is, would you be okay if these are werewolves?
The skin changers are the people of Beorn, the Beornings, who can change into a bear. But the
Only
whole
bears.
the whole concept of Sauron changing Sauron also turned into a vampire. He was described as being a vampire, like a vampire bat creature, and he also turned into a wolf, a werewolf as well. So that's a Sauron thing.
Wait, I played Castlevania. Dracula turns into or Alucard turns into a bat and a wolf and a
Yeah,
beautiful
well,
man.
Sauron, if they're acolytes of Sauron, these three people, and if they happen to have the weird ability to become werewolves, we wouldn't understand anything that would be a direct link to Tolkien's existing writings. This is just another Sauron also changed into a serpent briefly. Thank you, Matt. Matt, Nerd of the Rings, helped us get that out. So if these acolytes, what if they are? I don't know. We just don't know what they are. We don't know what powers they have. We don't know what powers they have yet.
What powers are allowed in the text? What powers are okay? What powers are canon? Let's go there.
Not for mortal men. Mortal men cannot do all these things. Like, it's Maiar spirits, the spirit of, the Maya. If you are the Maiar, then you have
are these guys
angelic powers.
Are these guys Maiar? Are these guys Maiar? Or are they being turned into something by a Maiar?
Good point. Well, the Balrogs were Maiar spirits, and so were Gandalf and Radagast and Saruman. They were also Maiar spirits. So you can arrive at a Maiar spirit in any number of forms. And in the Silmarillion, we learn some interesting bits about Sauron shape-shifting into werewolf.
Dan in the chat room wants to know, so Sauron can just change on a whim, or is there some special process? Well, if we go back to Fellowship of the Ring, remember Samwise, when he first meets Gandalf, Samwise says, "Don't turn me into anything unnatural." So everyone knows that wizards turn people into things, right? I guess it's so common knowledge by the Third Age. So is this common knowledge in the Second Age?
That Maiar, well, I think only the High Elves, the Noldor, would know things like that. The ones who had been in Valinor, the ones who had a relationship with the Valar and the Maiar, I think that there are very, very few other people of any species anywhere in Middle-earth that would understand the powers that the Valar and the Maiar really have. Only some of the Noldorin would actually know this.
Okay.
Really.
So it's true to Tolkien's canon that there are shapeshifters. I really liked Beorn. I really would have liked Ron Perlman playing Beorn in Guillermo del Toro's The Hobbit. I really would have liked that, but we didn't get that. Are we going to be happy with shapeshifter, white robe, blonde people, androgynous blonde people, shapeshifting into the ugliest wargs we've ever seen on camera?
I wonder.
This is why I don't like that theory. Those wargs are so awful and ugly. How dare they get sourced from such beautiful androgynous followers of whatever they are searching for?
Well, maybe it's just a ridiculous theory, but in the chat we have the wonderful erudition of Mike. Sorry. He said it's not easy. It's not easy for the Maiar to change forms. He says the Istari, when the wizards show up, they are locked into their physical forms as the old wandering men. Yes, Saruman, Gandalf, they were locked in those forms. And Sauron, at a certain point, Sauron could no longer achieve a fair form after the fall of Numenor. He could no longer change his form again, like that,
Interesting.
to
Interesting.
be appealing, and beautiful and appealing to people.
Um,
So,
that is
and
interesting.
he
I
also
love
said
that.
that Beorn is unique. The characters of skin changers, very unique. There's not like Professor Lupin running around in Middle Earth changing into a werewolf once a month. It's just not happening.
Uh,
It's not happening.
Again, before we go into the season 2 exclusive info we're about to get to, but before we go, that episode 6 and 7 are about to drop. And Cliff, what is your number one strongest rumor or wish that happens in the next 2 episodes? I'll tell you mine. Remember, I've been telling you guys for a year now that the earliest set reports we got is that Galadriel and Sauron share a raft at the beginning of the show, and they strike up a relationship by the end of the season, and Sauron is not revealed in season 1. Those are the spy reports we got a year ago, and I'm holding to that. We might be wrong. Those spy reports might be wrong, but honestly, I don't want Sauron revealed season 1. And I think in the next 2 episodes, we get a warm embrace between Sauron, what could be Sauron, Halbrand, and Galadriel. Galadriel lives in my head canon. Cliff, what is the one thing you hope comes true in the next 2 episodes?
More than anything, I would like the identity of the stranger to be revealed.
Is it gonna negatively affect you if it's what everyone assumes it is? Like, it's Gandalf. Come on, it's Gandalf.
He might be Olorin. Remember, he might never get named as Gandalf. He might just be called Olorin the whole bloody
Would you be happy with
seasons. That? Yes, because I think that is a creative and refreshing take to get Olorin into Middle Earth without being stuck with it being Gandalf. So I really would like Olorin to be revealed. I would like the stranger's identity to be either one of the blue wizards or Olorin or somebody.
Okay.
To be honest, I would really like the mystery boxing to stop. I
agree. I'm
tired. I'm tired.
One of the things that made Lord of the Rings so iconic is there was a bad guy that was immediately bad, and your good guys are only as good as how bad the bad guys are. And right now we are 5 hours into this show, and there is no bad guy for anyone. The mystery is who's the bad guy and what's the bad guy up to. Like,
and
there's no bad guy.
We are, because that makes us feel like there are no stakes, and because there
no stakes.
You know what? Well, there are stakes. There are more clear stakes involved for the relationship with Durin.
Adar isn't Elrond. The bad guy. Adar isn't the bad guy.
But Adar isn't the bad guy.
Jed Brophy said that these are orc cultures that just want a fair shot at his existence.
Right, and that's cool. I think that's interesting enough. But the fact is that Waldreg is looking at Adar and says, "You are Sauron, are you not? Whoever you are, I'll worship you and pledge fealty to you." And at that point, it's like, whoa, this is crazy that even the characters in the bloody TV show are just as frustrated as we are with the mystery boxing and not knowing who Sauron is. But
this show will get better when there's an actual bad guy. But I have to reconcile that with my personal feelings that I don't
writing
want.
101. That is basic writing 101.
It's Tolkien 101, right? Like there's a good and there's a bad and there's a bunch of grays in between choosing which side to be on. But I don't want Sauron revealed this season. And I know the chat room was like, "Oh, you just confirmed it." Look, I'm just reporting the rumor that we got last year, which is Sauron and Galadriel. Again, we did not have the name Halbrand. All we heard was Sauron and Galadriel share a raft, and they strike up a relationship. That's what we heard. That's the rumor. And then we heard Sauron isn't revealed season 1. My personal opinion, I'm a fan of Bronwyn being Sauron. And wouldn't that be interesting to have Sauron being this woman that is taking a leadership role in this time of crisis?
That is ridiculous because of the way that Bronwyn was terrified of that orc, that one orc that was in her kitchen. And if even if she were actually Sauron and she didn't know it, she wouldn't be responding to an orc in sheer terror. She'd be responding like, "Yeah, buddy, come here, let's talk."
All right, moving on. Here we go, folks. We've got season 2 news. We've got a lot of different things to show you. So let's start off with a video clip. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this, but we've got a short video. Boom.
Hi, I'm Simon Merrills, and I'm looking out of my Welsh hotel room window at the last vestiges of Storm Eunice, who was a very feisty number this morning, but she's calmed down now. Making a science fiction film here called A Million Days. Watch this space. Very exciting in our final week of shooting. Most of you will still probably know me mainly for playing Marcus Crassus in Spartacus, War of the Damned. I don't mind that at all. It was one of those jobs that was a job of a lifetime. Loved it. Perhaps you also know me for such roles as Tancred in the series Nightfall, about the Knights Templar, another job I loved. So this is my initial hi to the world of Cameo. Hi. And I hope to see you all again.
All right, that's our first big news. Simon Merrills, who was the Watchtower elf alongside Arondir in episode 1 and 2, and he was in the Orc Pits in episode 3, is now on Cameo. He is the first Rings of Power actor to join Cameo. So for a small price, you can get an actual elf from the Second Age to wish your family a happy birthday or happy holidays or whatever you want as Cameo works. Now, Cliff, when I sent you this link, you said something very specific that blew my mind. What did you say when you saw this link?
Are you going to corner me now and make me repeat myself? Oh my gosh. Okay. What did I say? Oh, I'm going to have to take a look. I said, you're not going to make me read this on the air, dude. I said, oh dear, he's dead and not coming back for season 2. So you might as well cash in on this notoriety.
So there you go.
That's not the exact word that I used, but okay.
So the question to the chat room is, did we see a Simon Merrills character actually die in season 3? I can't remember. If we didn't see him actually die. Wait, did he get pierced by an arrow when he finally climbed out? No, he was still in the mix, right?
He was pierced by 2 arrows and
he was
very,
pierced
very
by
dead.
2 arrows.
Yes.
So he is not coming back. The elves do not have magic potions to bring people back from the dead.
Arondir was pulled right into the pit, and that was it. He was dead. And I was just, I don't know. Look, the thing is, I'm usually the patient one. Like I said online today on a Twitter conversation, I am usually the patient person in the room. I'm still waiting patiently for Netflix to renew The Sandman. I am waiting.
That's a whole different conversation.
I know, but
we have nothing to spoil there. But
I'm waiting for this show to reveal so much that it is keeping close to its chest. I'm waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting.
It's not fun. It's just not fun watching the show. I don't feel like I'm having any fun like we did with the Hobbit movies, where there was a big cliffhanger and you hated the cliffhanger of Desolation of Smaug, and I thought it was just brilliant and genius and whatever. Moving on. this is information that nobody wanted you to know, but so we tweeted it out because the OneRing.net has been doing this for 20 years. The Lord of the Rings Season 2, we got this screenshot from a casting website.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And
yes.
it says Season 2 is starting shooting October 7th, which would be next Friday. And it says locations in Edinburgh, Scotland, Water Oakley, United Kingdom, and Auckland, New Zealand. We have further updates that I don't know if Auckland, New Zealand is accurate, because that project summary from that says set in Middle Earth, that is copied and pasted from Season 1. And we have heard rumors that they've been shooting in Edinburgh. And as you saw at the top of the show, we were in Water Oakley, which is Bray Studios, near Windsor Castle. So the information checks out, except for Auckland. Is Lord of the Rings called Season 2? No, it's just going to be The Rings of Power. I guess a question for you, Cliff. Do you think this show will change its name every season, kind of like American Horror Story does?
No, it's not an anthology. They have no interest in doing that. In fact, they have more of an interest in building a brand around the immediate recognition of the Rings of Power. So no, they're not going to change title. They want to build a worldwide brand with this stuff.
Interesting. Well, let me show you, folks. This is a satellite photo from the stages in Auckland, New Zealand. That I think Fellowship fans, we both got it at the same time. I think. I think this is on Google Maps now because the satellite photo has been released. So this is from last July. This is from last July. This is from Auckland, New Zealand. So this is definitely Season 1. You can probably see that there is a ship set. That is a boat in the top corner. You see that little upside down U with a boat in it, and then there's a water tank at the bottom left. And you can see that looks like docks. So I believe that's the Numenor set with a water tank and some docks and a townscape around it. So that is
cool.
That was one of the earliest looks we got at Numenor in Season 1. So folks, we have pictures of the sets being built at Bray Studios. You know what? This deserves a full screen. So let's go full screen. This is the under construction sets. Does this look like Numenor? You've got Numenor definitely has this idea, this visual concept of circular areas. Like, every time we see something happening, there's like a crowd in the round, basically. So this is, and you can see that's a tractor right there, an earth mover right there with the orange arm right there. And the second photo here, this definitely looks like an orc camp. You can see that these wooden things on scaffolding are building up these dirt walls. Cliff, this might remind us of Adar and some of the orc camps that were built. You can see that there is kind of a pathway going off to the right there. There's like a curved pathway, so you can see where like actors will orc actors possibly will be running through, like coming into base camp. This looks like this potentially could be an orc base camp because it is very earthen, and there's nothing else in the show so far that we've seen that I don't think this would be anything to do with Khazad-dûm, because it is short and shallow, and it's not etched stone. This is definitely a dirt set with what looks like 12 to 15 foot dirt walls.
I think that Monica has just solved all of the mystery. She said that tractor right there is Sauron. Thank you, Monica. Thank
There
you
it
for
is.
helping us solve the mystery. That's Sauron. You know what? This set that we're looking at right now does not at all look like Numenor. This looks like it would be like in an orc pit somewhere. I wonder.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
the first photo there, Cliff, feels a little more like Numenor. You've got
that first one does, but not the second one. Yes,
so
it does.
so what are your guesses on this set? It does feel like you can see there's a green fence. So this is like the edge of the property. So this is the edge of the set. What do you think this could be? Is this another Numenor staging? Minas Tirith Courtyard? We're not at Minas Tirith. I don't think we'll be in Minas Tirith in season 2.
What if they're, the watchtower where the Southlanders are hiding, and where in the next couple of episodes we believe the orcs and Adar are going to come in and have a battle against them. Maybe this is a whole new interior that we'll see somewhere in that elven watchtower. Maybe it will be a new courtyard or a new place inside there. But the weird thing is we have to reckon that every single set, every interior set that they're going to reuse, they're going to have to rebuild and recreate in the UK. So imagine the logistics of breaking down, the giant tree that's in Linden, that tree that Elrond and Gil-galad are always talking underneath. They had to pack that up and break it down and rebuild it in the UK. All those other sets, especially the big ones in Khazad-dûm.
Well, let me ask you this:
does Numenor? They have to rebuild everything. It's wild.
Does this look like the base of a fiery kiln? Does this look like the
base of a forge, a fiery forge? Yeah, maybe this could be one of the interiors of the forge.
Because look at that circular thing.
Pretty cool idea.
Look, you can see the idea of the fires of a forge coming around, right? The fires being hotter than hotter than anything ever, and then you can see that a molten mithril maybe is poured out this stout that goes to a lower level.
Okay,
right?
I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
But look at the size of, look at the size in comparison to the machinery, right? Those are cranes, and earth movers. So this is a large set, but I do feel, and look at there's a pole that's sticking up from this circular thing, which means I believe that is going to get some height. This could be the start of a kiln. Is this the kiln?
It could be the start of a great big forge that might be one of the most important sets of all of the interior sets that they ever make.
Varking is in the chat room because
Hi, Varking. Hi there.
He mods the Lord of the Rings on Prime subreddit where a lot of these photos and videos were posted. He says, with the big circle in the middle, it looks like the room in Numenor where Galadriel, Miriel, and Halbrand debate. Is this is this a new set or a repurposed set from New Zealand?
Star Welters in the live chat says those are 35-foot articulating lifts to the right side of the yellow structure. Yes, that is correct. He's right.
Of Gondor says that pipe could easily feed a gas line for practical fire effects. Yeah, this raised set does look like it has got some fire infrastructure possibly available. So maybe it isn't Numenor. Again, let's zoom in to what we're calling the Orc set. Again, this is near Windsor Castle. God Save the King. But this is near Windsor Castle. And this is, you can see on the right there, that is definitely a 12 to 15 foot wall. So this does feel like, those caverns that the orcs keep digging all over the place. Obviously, you're not going to see the blue or the dirt and stuff like that. They got to keep it dressed up. But if you notice right in the middle there, above the crane, is a standalone ramp, a standalone earthen ramp. Let's see if anything else. Again, you can see some forklift. I mean, just the massive size of this set. Again, these are massive forklifts and water tanks and everything like that. And someone in the chat room wanted to know what's up with that beautiful house that's behind this set. I'll show you. So if we go to Google Maps, we are in Windsor. So let me show you. Windsor Castle is right here. Windsor Castle. Windsor Castle. This is the big lawn. Anyone that's gone to Windsor before knows there's a big walkway up to Windsor Castle, and there's a big, if they call it the Long Walk. There it is. So if you drive, and I had a wonderful evening right here on one of these side streets. I think it's this street right here, the Two Brewers and Turret House. The Two Brewers is a tiny little pub that's been open since like 1650, and you can see its back patio empties right into the gardens of Windsor Castle. And I tell you, that place is amazing. So if we back out from Windsor Castle and go 10 minutes down river, right? This is the River Thames. We can go all the way to Bray Studios. This is the River Thames, and there's your house right there. That house is this house. Back up. 100%. So that house you see at the top of the photo is this house right along the river. So you can see, if we see where this hedge is and where they're building this set, it is right where it looks like they bulldozed this. Oh, wait, hold on. If we look at that side building. All right, you see where this dirt is on the left? To the left of the house, where you see the dirt being moved, that is brand new set that they are building for Rings of Power. So they were working on this when I was there in May. Lord of the Rings had booked up most of the stages here. So I believe there was some talk at Shepperton, because Amazon has leased a bunch of stuff at Shepperton. As we've talked about, I was just there for the premiere in London. Shepperton is nowhere near ready for filming for season 2. They are still at least 6 months out. So even though Amazon is building 1 million square feet of new stages, I don't think it's going to be ready in time for season 2 of Rings of Power. So most of the filming is going to be right here next to Windsor Castle at Bray Studios. And we can see that Earth is already being moved. Is there a way to see when this Google photo was taken? It says imagery copyright 2022. So this is fresh imagery. That was not, that dirt moving on the left was not there. This dirt was not moved when I was there in May. So this happened between May and now. They bulldozed all this dirt and built this thing. So more in the Twitch chat says south of England, that's a much warmer place for this. What? Maybe. So yeah, Bray Studios. Again, it's a fairly small studios compared to Shepperton, and compared to what they've got up in Scotland, where they filmed most of most of Neil Gaiman's shows. So you can see that there is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's probably 7 studios that are worth filming in. Big enough to house a big set.
Yeah.
The thing I will say about Bray Studios is it's off the beaten path. Again, if we look at this, you've got the River Thames right along here. You can see there's nothing but fields across the street. There's Dorney Lake right there. And the yacht club is right up the street, right up the river. There is not a lot around here. So there's a lot of opportunity to film outdoor scenes. Basically, there's a lot of opportunity to shoot outdoors, and there's a lot of privacy there. There's a lot of giant hedges. There's a river. There's a yacht club, and there's a royal guard nearby. So there's a lot of security around here to shoot something that no one wants to see. So credit to the fans in our Discord and on Reddit that are pulling up drones. Because if I had a drone in May, I would have gotten some stuff too. So again,
that is amazing spy footage. It's really great to have some spy reports coming in like that with a great overview without it being blurry. Like some of the worst blurry half rendered photos that we saw a long time ago.
Yeah, of the ice cliff
from Fellowship of Fans, and they're like, oh yeah, look, there's a crazy ice cliff inside half of a warehouse door, and all those crazy photos. It was really quite something.
Jimmy Mack in the chat room says Dorney
clearer.
Lake is the rowing lake at Eton.
That's true. It is.
Am I supposed to know what Eton School is? Is that a prestigious school?
Eton College. Yeah, it is.
Eton College. That big
yes.
straight is the rowing practice lake. They built a whole lake that large just to practice rowing.
If you know what, if this is the quality of the spy reports we're going to get, wow, it's only going to get better. If this is the new level of quality of spy pictures, I can't wait for more. That's for sure.
So this is pretty exciting. Season 2. So that to recap, Lord of the Rings Season 2 supposedly start shooting next Friday. Why? This would explain, if we go back to the Paley Center, I don't have the link up. If we go back to the Paley Center, that would explain why there's only 5 or 6 actors showing up to New York Comic Con.
Because the rest of them are busy. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's right. They're busy. In answer to the YouTube chat, hello, Star Welters. He is asking, they're asking, is it a plan to discuss episode 5 on this Torn Tuesday? Well, we did that. We did that already at the very top of the show. So you'll be able to watch that in the archive and when we get back to that.
We keep these episodes up. So if you're watching on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube, just rewind. We had a nice little discussion. Again, if you want deep dives into the lore of every episode, that's not what this show is. We're here to give you the weekly notes of all things Lord of the Rings, whether it's games, movies. We've got information next week on Tolkien's 2 favorite pubs reopening pretty soon. So this show is more about bringing you the news and the gossip and what we're hearing for season 2 and the next 2 episodes. And, if you want a deep dive, you can watch Nerd of the Rings. Subscribe to him on YouTube because he has amazing interviews every week. Like today, he just interviewed Maxim Baldry.
You want good content? Yes, there you go.
Like the chat room. You can see in the chat room, people are talking about how amazing that interview was.
That was a really good conversation with Maxim Baldry. And I'm looking forward to having some great conversations right here on Torn Tuesday.
And if you want a deep dive, like the depths of the ocean deep dive,
Yes. Yes.
What's his name? Corey Olson, the Tolkien professor,
Oh,
has
yes.
an amazing. He upgraded his studio. So
Oh, boy.
Corey's looking better than ever. So you can tune in
Yeah.
to Corey Olson, the Tolkien professor, on YouTube and Twitch. He has an amazing new series where he spends 4 hours
Oh,
or
yes.
more
And
deep diving into every episode.
and also in Deep Geek. And hey, you know what? I just want to say and reiterate, I'm tired of the endless setups. Episode 5 and episode 4 was setup after setup after setup. So no wonder they're trying to position episodes 6 and 7 as the big, coming together of necessary plots and things and consequences of things happening. Wow, okay, we're finally going to get somewhere. Finally.
Yeah. Look,
So,
we so there are plenty of places, and of course, if you're on TikTok, New Beta Do Beta is doing amazing stuff. And Reddit every Saturday morning, Reddit or Saturday midday, depending on your time zone, or evening, depending on your time zone, is hosting audio conversations with the cast every single Saturday. So there is so much room. Entertainment Weekly has an amazing weekly podcast. Of course, our friends at The Ringer, Joanna Robinson, has an amazing weekly podcast breaking down. So, whatever level you're at of fandom, and whether you've read The Silmarillion or didn't, or whatever, if you just like the movies, there's a ton of different podcasts and shows to watch to get a deep dive. If you want to know how we currently feel about Rings of Power, Cliff and I, tune in, go watch last week's episode, the mid-season report card, a show that we didn't want to do, but again, I didn't want to do my midterms either, but it's just part of the program.
dude, yeah, and here we are. And here we're all here together, and I'm still enjoying myself. I'm enjoying, like, every week. Wow, I get another 70 minutes of Middle Earth. What are we going to see next? And I'm just hoping, I'm hoping and praying that, what's the phrase? The phrase from borrowing it from the Olympics, the way the gymnastics have that phrase. I hope they stick the landing.
Well, look, folks, as we show these spy photos again, I just want to remind everybody that the next 2 episodes are make it or break it for this show. We've been told. Well, we've been told by many people affiliated with the show that the next 2 episodes are it and then some. So if you're not on board, if you're not fully on board by episode 7, then then it's probably gonna feel like the ending of Desolation of Smaug, which is, come on, like we all went. I think we all went into the third Hobbit movie with a mindset of, I'm just here to have fun. This isn't going to change the world or win a bunch of Oscars. I'm just here to have fun, and that's where I'm at with this show. I'm just here to have fun at this point. But if the next 2 episodes deliver on some next level storytelling and filmmaking that we've never seen on television before, then this elevates it from a show we're happy to watch to a show that's worthy of some Emmy Awards and whatever else.
Let's see what happens next, everybody. And again, my acknowledgement to you guys, the audience. Wonderful, wonderful to have our audience with us here live, and to have our audience with us here, actually live, real live audience with us here. This, again, Jean Bourgeois. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everybody, again.
10 years watching the OneRing.net. That's what I call a faithful audience member. Well done, well done, well done. So we're going to say goodnight, Gracie. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
There you go. And it's about that time that we tell everybody to, take care of themselves and to be good to one another until next week, because there's so much going on. There is so much going on. We've got we didn't even have a conversation about all the other things. I want to talk with you, Justin, about Andor. I want to talk with you about the Sandman. I want to talk with you guys about the Rings of Power. I could do this all day, all night. But you know what? I don't have America's ass. So I'm not going to say that I could do this all day. Because I'm sorry, it's just I don't want to steal dialogue from Captain America. I really don't want to do that. But everybody,
Hey, look, and my final thought on the Bronwyn as Sauron. Why haven't we seen this expensive red cloak on her yet? I'm telling you, like
Pete says hi, Gene.
that woman
Hi, Pete.
is got something going on, and she has to
Okay,
get
no.
this cloak somehow. And I think this is a power cloak. Red is a power color. That is a power cloak. That is not an elvish gift from Arondir. That is something she has earned through some power play. I think she's more than meets the eye. And that's my
Okay.
final thought of the show.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but no, none of those. You know what? I will help you debunk those theories. And let's do that next Tuesday. Okay. Join us again next Tuesday, everybody, so we can talk some more weird rumors, and then I can help Justin debunk them. And thank you for being with us again on this really energized and rather enjoyable episode of Torn Tuesday. We're so glad to be here with you. Join us again next week, 5:00 p.m. Pacific time, 8:00 Eastern. We're going to have a lot more fun and a lot more mischief. Until then, take care of yourselves, right? Look after one another, because we gotcha. It's just us. So we're going to take care of one another, right? Right.
Of course.
All right. Thanks for being here, Gene. And
Oh,
thank you.
for having me, Cliff.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Justin, for pulling all the buttons together to make the show happen. Until next week, good night and good luck. Or better yet, buenos noches y buena suerte. See you later.